Welcome back. Let's put the spotlight on Jammu and Kashmir and what lies ahead, politically speaking at least. And we have this conversation over a year after the abrogation of Article 370. We have this conversation a day after it was finally decided to release Mehbooba Mufti from the detention that she's been in since August 2019. We have this conversation in the light of Manoj Sinha being the governor who's right now on a massive outreach program. We also have this conversation in the light of a meeting that was held today with political parties from Jammu and Kashmir, from NC to PDP and others attending this meeting and deciding that they will go ahead with their Gupkar Declaration. This was the Gupkar meet that was held. What's the Gupkar Declaration? A declaration that these very parties actually came together and announced last year after the centre decided to abrogate Article 370. And they declared they actually vowed to protect and reinstate Article 370. It was signed by the major Jammu and Kashmir parties on August 4, 2019. Key signatories were NC, PDP, CPIM and Congress. They vowed to remain together and stand united. They vowed to safeguard the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. And of course, everybody was detained. It was essentially a governor running the state. Then the pandemic hit the entire country. And so for a year now, not much politically speaking has happened in Jammu and Kashmir. But now they are back and they're together. So let's understand what could be the future of Jammu and Kashmir politically speaking. Let's say good evening to Manoj Joshi, senior journalist, joining me right now. Mr. R.P. Singh, national spokesperson for the BJP. S.S Bukhari, spokesperson for the PDP. And Dr. Sameer Kaul, chief national spokesperson for the National Conference. Dr. Kaul, let's begin with you. What's the plan going forward as per this Gupkar Declaration? What is it that the parties are now intending to do?
I think there is no plan, but the plan is very simple. It's the people's voice and the people's mandate to the mainstream of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, which is to voice their opinion right from the grassroots. People feel that the genuine aspirations of the people should be conveyed through a united front, led, of course, by the National Conference, Dr. Farooq Abdullah being the head, and the PDP and the other legitimate mainstream parties, which have for the past 1 year been tried to be buried under the earth illegally by incarcerations of leaders. And of course, we are all talking about the unilateral abrogation of the Articles 35A and 370 in Jammu and Kashmir and taking away promised constitutional rights of citizens who believe in the idea of India. So a common way forward. Now, I'm very happy. A very positive, the only positive thing that has really emerged from this last 1 year of grief is the fact that people still believe in constitutionality which country has. They still feel that they can redress their grievances through the constitutional courts, through the system of people, through parliamentary democracy, and fight for reaffirming what is owed to them. And therefore, the Gupkar Declaration is a positive step of the mainstream to hold each other's hands and therefore have a point of view and convey the feelings and aspirations of the people of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, and also ask for peace in the region, because everybody owes it to us, including our own selves, because we are the ones who have suffered because of the last conflict of 30 years now. Therefore, an end to it would need involving all stakeholders.
Okay.
The Gupkar Declaration is a call for that.
Okay, but Mr. S.S Bukhari, if you want to comment on this, but the fact of the matter also is that now it's legally done and implemented, and it's been over a year since that happened. How do the parties really propose to bring about any change now?
Well, of course, I really do not agree with the terminology that you're talking about. The terminology that you're using is legally done. We say it's been illegally done. And it's not a matter of it being done and dusted. We believe that it has been done illegally, unconstitutionally, and undemocratically. And we are very sure about it that, we would be able to get back what was snatched from us illegally through the constitutional mechanism that exists. And to add to it, one more thing, just because a government has done it or a parliament has done something does not necessarily put me under a binding to agree to it. And there have been instances where maybe a house has legislated something, it has gone for judicial review and it has been thrown out of the window, terming it clearly in contradiction to what constitutionality means. It's not something that God has done. We believe that it's unconstitutional, illegal, and we are preparing, and we've announced that we would struggle in unison to constitutionally ensure that we get back what rightfully belongs to us.
Okay, Mr. Manoj Joshi, let me come across to you. The BJP would have assumed that at least a year of keeping the big names under detention, and running the place via Lieutenant Governor, a year of including a lockdown, would have kind of got the situation under control. Now, as these political parties come back together, are we going to see, more polarization again, or do you think that the people themselves seem to have moved on?
Look, first of all, I agree with the PDP spokesman. A lot of the stuff that has been done has been illegal. There is no cause. The removal of Article 370 was simply done by sleight of hand. It was done with neither by the State Assembly nor by any kind of consultation with the people. Now, as far as what we are looking at in the future, what we are seeing is, you say polarization. Polarization has occurred. The polarization is that almost all parties used to swear by India have come together, and you're seeing them right in front of you. The remarkable thing about what the BJP did was that it united all these parties together and tried to throw out of the national discourse, tried to suggest that somehow these people were anti-national, meaning that by arresting them. And again, the arrests were illegal. The very fact that Mehbooba ji has been released just before the issue was going to be taken up in the Supreme Court indicates that. I think the courts have been very lax. They have not done their duty. People have been detained. We see Mr. Mr. Soz Senior, who has been detained, and we don't even know why. He doesn't know why he's been detained, and there's no official record of his detention, and yet he tries to get out. He can't go out. So Saifuddin Soz. So now the point I'm trying to make is that illegal things have been done in this period. Not only illegal, what has been done is that all the people who were for India, who stood up for India under very difficult circumstances, very, very difficult circumstances, were put in a corner, and virtually it was suggested that they were anti-national. So I think you have a very peculiar situation, and you can see the consequences of that when Yusuf Tariqami from the CPM, Mehbooba, National Conference, they all get together and they raise the issue. And I think they're right, because the point is that the patent illegality of the action that took place last year on August 5th is very, very, very obvious.
But to take that on and to challenge that would be via the Supreme Court, which is already, which is what one would assume. I mean, how else will you challenge what the Parliament has done, Mr. Joshi?
Well, the court has not actually taken on the issue. It's still hearing it, which is quite remarkable. Meaning they have continued to postpone the whole issue. They've not really examined the removal of Article 370, the legality of that, because there are legal issues there. There was certain provisions in the Constitution regarding how it could be removed, and whatever it is, it was not followed. It was deemed that the governor
Okay.
To speak on behalf of the state. Whereas he can't speak on behalf of the state, there's a legislative assembly or the people themselves, because you could have had a referendum.
Okay, so let me move on to the second part, but before that, bring in R.P. Singh as well. Mr. R.P. Singh, a year of detentions, controversies and arguments and disagreements about whether some leaders have been detained or not, and a lockdown and a crackdown and all of that, and still we are at a situation where actually now you've united all your rival parties in Jammu and Kashmir against you, and they are now getting back together to challenge what you have done on abrogation 370. What do you have to say to that?
Well, they have all the right, provided they stay within the democratic boundaries of the country and do whatever they do under the democratic procedure of the country. They have all the right to stand by whatever they feel is right, and they have right to go to court also. As Mr. Manoj Joshi was saying, that things are under court. Probably Mr. Manoj Joshi also feels that things have not been done properly. He has also right to protest, and he has also right to write a column, or he has also right to go to court also. There are options open in democracy. But it has been through the parliament. There can be difference of opinion that he thinks that governor doesn't enjoy those powers, but Jammu and Kashmir is the only state where, in case assembly is not in power, not there, then the governor has all the powers. But my only concern is they can come together, but not against the ethos of country. I mean, they can't say that we'll go to China, as Mr. Abdullah said, we'll go to China seeking the help of China to resolve our issues, or we'll go to Pakistan to help of Pakistan to resolve our issues. That's not acceptable. That's all within the democratic norms. Whatever they do, let them do. Who's stopping them? And then they boycotted the last panchayat election.
Whatever they do within the norms of democracy, Mr. Singh, will you again use the PSA and detain their leaders?
I said they have all the right to do whatever they do within the norms of democracy. They can. And I heard Mr. Farooq Abdullah on another channel saying that they will not go for violence. Good. I mean, it's acceptable. It's rather welcome that they will not incite violence by their statement. But his father has done the other way when he says we'll go seek China's help. That incites violence. I mean, he's contradicted himself. He also said, I'll send you the video clip. He also said that it was a legacy given to us by the Congress party. I mean, he on record said, and legacy given to by the first prime minister of the country. How can you withdraw that legacy? So a lot of water has flown under the JLM now, and then they never talk about Section 35A. They never talk about what exactly do they want. I mean, let them clear cut come and state what they want. They want their daughters to come back or not? Do Mr. Abdullah want his daughter to come back and be part of Kashmir or not? Do Mehbooba Mufti want her sister to be part of Kashmir or not, since they are married outside Kashmir? Or do Valmikis have the right within the Kashmir or not? Or do Gurkhas have right within Kashmir or not? So let them state what they have to state. I mean, it's a democratic process, but they boycotted a democratic process a year back, and we are hopeful that next time they will participate in that, and the next political process.
Okay, let me actually ask Dr. Sameer Kaul to respond to that.
I don't actually know what to respond to, because all I heard was just desperate attempts at trying to answer lots of things, and it made no sense to me. So which part of it would you like me to respond to? The People's Alliance?
I will tell you. I would like you to respond to BJP's allegation that Mr. Farooq Abdullah is saying is bringing China into this entire thing, and he says that China's aggression is justified, and that was done because of scrapping of Article 370. That's BJP's allegation.
I don't think he said that, because that would be a miscommunication. What he did say is that this is what China is saying. It was a statement of fact, and if you know and you're reading your statements well, my good lady, you would know that China is, of course, unhappy with it and has voiced its objection. So have the Kashmiri people. So what Dr. Abdullah said was just a statement of fact. He never said anything more than that to be constituted as anti-national or anything like that. It may be played up like that, but then that is not the truth. The truth is that if my father, the head of the country, refuses to listen to my angst, what do I do? If you push your own people and your mainstream against the wall, demonify them, decry them, make them into villains of peace, without regarding the fact that they have run and paid with the blood of their own workers. Are you aware that National Conference has lost more than 3,000 people in 30 years of conflict for my country? Does the BJP not have the heart to take that into cognizance at all? How can you make such statements and call such a party anti-national, and people who have paid with blood out there on the ground? It's okay for us in television studios and in the comforts of our drawing rooms to talk about big things. But my people on the ground and the people of Jammu and Kashmir who are very, very loyal citizens of India have paid for this country with their blood for the last 30 years. And despite that, they get vilified and called anti-nationals and Pakistanis on the national television. Now, is that correct? Why would BJP want to do something like that just for the lure of some votes? Is nationalism not more important than just getting a few more votes?
Dr. Sameer Kaul, let me just say that very clearly, unless you are legitimately and proven in court of law that you were on the payrolls of the Pakistani government or the ISI, nobody in this country should be called a Pakistani agent, and nobody in this country
do that round the
actually
clock.
be called anti-national. Nobody
that
has a right to decide on what your and my nationalism is. Yes. Yes, okay. That's their style of politics. I understand what you're saying. So let's not go down the road, because I don't want to have a debate about who's more nationalistic or not. I get the point that you're making. Let me take it a step further, and let me actually ask the parties who, from Jammu and Kashmir, if they will push for delimitation and for the political process to resume in Jammu and Kashmir, for the assembly to be formed. Is that something that's on your agenda to be pushed as well, Sohail Bukhari?
Well, I think there's a lot of confusion that is probably being deliberately created. Before I actually, detail on that, let's put facts, on the table. BJP and New Delhi is allergic to any kind of unison as far as the people of Jammu and Kashmir go. Earlier, they would try and demean and divide you into Pahadis and Gujars and Shias and Sunnis and National Conference and PDP. Now that we have, everyone has come together, we have BJP going, trumpeting around, now this is Pakistan's agenda. This is a, paper which has come from Pakistan, they're just executing it. Earlier, they would go to international fora, to UN, Mr. Joshi would bail me out on this, they would go there and tell you, these Hurriyat guys, they are Pakistan proxies, they have no representative character. We want to tell you that there is a mainstream which goes for polls, they are voted by people, they are the real representatives. And now, when the same mainstream has come together, not accepting the illegality that has been perpetrated on the people of Jammu and Kashmir, we have also become Pakistanis. I wonder what are they going to, tell to the world next time they go to these international fora. As far as the political process goes, I think BJP is deliberately trying to create a confusion. See, political process does not mean elections only. It does not mean forming the state legislature. What we are coming together for, what we have initiated in itself is political process. This is the politics. People of this state want their legitimate rights back, and we are pushing for it. This is politics.
Okay, fair enough. No, I completely agree with you. This is resumption of politics for sure. What way do we go next is what one needs to look at. Mr. Manoj Joshi, would you say that it's high time? It's been over a year that even the Election Commission needs to get going with its delimitation and get the official political process of electing, their leaders also get going in Kashmir?
The problem is, you have to address the question of the illegality of what was done. Meaning, unless and until you confront that, you can't say that I've swept the table clean. You deliberately sweep the table clean, and then you say, oh no, we've got to set the table again. So I can't understand there has to be some acknowledgement somewhere. Now you say 370 is bad. Now we often hear voices, people in Jammu are worried about outsiders coming and taking up their businesses. So they say maybe we should get something like Article 371. See, now 370 was something which the BJP said was part of its national agenda. They had already sworn by it. In fact, the rise of BJP right from the beginning, from the Jansang times, they had said they'd get rid of 370. But the point is they simply didn't think it through. You needed to think it through. Now that you haven't thought it through, now you say, oh no, we need to get the political process going again. What does that mean? Meaning, if you're saying when people talk about delimitation, it's the code word for saying that, oh, the old delimitation favored the valley. We will now do it in such a way that will be more balanced.
Correct.
Which means that you will try to alter the delimitation. Now, the point is, given the background of what has happened, I suspect, I'm very suspicious of the government's intentions, to be very frank. I think they will fix the delimitation.
Well, actually, I don't even think they are using any. I don't think there's even a code being used, very clearly saying that representation has to be changed, and that's why this is being done. But because you raised that point, let me very quickly. I'm out of time, but Mr. R.P. Singh, do you want to respond to that? The charge that you railroaded through that change and revocation of Article 370, and now you're looking at a situation where you don't know how to explain it.
Tanvi, I'm shocked at your and Mr. Manoj Joshi's narrative being built today on the national television. I'm really shocked. You are painting as if 370 was something which was a blessing to Kashmir. We have suffered the problem of Kashmir from 70 years. And 370, application of 370 and 35A was a path correction. And then as for delimitation, all that's all technical, and that can be tackled by the system. But coming to the core issue, and then what did Mr. Abdullah said? With China's support, I'm reading verbatim. With China's support, Article 360 will be restored in J&K. Oh, what do you mean? I mean, this is very close to treason. I'm not saying that. I mean, this is very close to treason. You might not accept it, but this is very close to treason. And otherwise, they have lost ground. They are trying to gain ground. They boycotted the last Panchayat election. There are 30,000 Panch and Sarpanch on ground, which are not their people now. They are their new set of political setup which is emerging. And they are scared that next round, whenever election happens, they will not be there. The new set of people will be there. So for gaining ground, they can go to this extent that they will seek Chinese support. And I'm saying within democratic norms, they have all the rights to do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
But within the norms which are allowed in the democracy and in a peaceful fashion. If they support any sort of militancy or anything,
but Mr. Singh, I think the very argument from the other side is that you yourself didn't follow the norms of a democracy when you brought about a change. I'm completely out of time, so I'm going to have to thank everybody here. But let me just say this, it is good to see the resumption of political process in Jammu and Kashmir. Which way it goes, we don't know. But at least it is good to see the parties representing Jammu and Kashmir now back up talking about the state. We'll see, wait and watch which way it goes. The fight for Article 370 or the abrogation of Article 370, which way does that go? Thank you so much to all of our panelists for joining us in this conversation tonight.